we all kind of feel that language is more complex under the hood, right? Like there are hidden rules.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And today we're looking at one really interesting part of that, floating quantifiers.
Floating quantifiers. Okay, so words like all, maybe?
Exactly. Words like all, each, both, and how they can sometimes appear separated from the nouns they're actually talking about.
Yeah, right.
We're using insights from research like floating quantifiers and syntax, which poses some really key questions.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to unpack this. Why do these quantity words seem to, well, float around in a
Let's
sentence?
start there.
Yeah. What exactly is a floating quantifier? Can you give us that core definition?
Sure. It's basically a quantifier that isn't right next to the noun phrase it modifies.
Okay.
So the classic example, the students have all left. See how all modifies students, but it's not beside students.
Right. Unlike if you said all the students have left, then it's right there.
Precisely. That separation, that displacement is the key feature.
So why? What's going on in the sentence structure that allows all to just move away like that?
Well, the general linguistic thinking points towards underlying syntactic structures.
Okay.
The idea is that even though they aren't neighbors on the surface, like in a spoken sentence, all and students are closely connected at a deeper, more abstract level of representation.
Oh, I see.
And then, as the sentence gets put together, the quantifier can end up floating to a different position, sort of like parts of a kit that belong together but aren't attached in the final build.
That makes sense. Now, I've also heard the term quantifier stranding. Is that the same thing, just different jargon?
It's related, but crucially different. Both involve separation, yeah. But floating is typically seen as the quantifier moving away from the noun phrase. Stranding is when the noun phrase moves maybe to the front of the sentence for a question, leaving the quantifier behind.
Oh, okay. Like, who did you all see? Who moved, leaving all stranded?
Exactly that, yeah.
Interesting distinction. The source material also brings up subject movement. How does that connect to floating quantifiers?
Ah, yeah, that's a fascinating link. What linguists find is that in languages where the subject-noun phrase can move around more freely within the sentence structure, you're often more likely to find floating quantifiers associated with that subject. It suggests there's some kind of shared grammatical mechanism permitting both types of movement.
So these floating quantifiers, they don't just land anywhere randomly. They have preferred spots.
That seems to be the case, yes. Research suggests they occupy quite specific positions within the clause structure, often places where you might also find certain types of adverbs or auxiliary verbs.
Okay, specific slots. Does this mostly happen with subjects? Or can quantifiers float away from objects too?
It's definitely more common or perhaps less restricted with subjects, but yes, you can get floating from objects. You might hear something like, I saw the children all playing. All floats off the children, which is the object there. But the rules can be a bit tighter. Maybe depends on the specific quantifier.
Right, which brings up another point. Not all quantifiers can float, can they? Like, you wouldn't expect a or the to float.
Exactly. It seems mostly restricted to universal ones, like all, each, and both. These distributive or universal quantifiers seem to have the right properties. Words like to or many or articles like a, they just don't float. Their meaning or function seems to tie them more closely.
The source also mentioned DP structure. Can you quickly explain what a DP is and how floating helps us understand it?
Right. DP stands for determiner phrase. Basically, think of it as the whole noun phrase, including the determiner like the or a.
Got it.
Floating quantifiers give us clues about the internal structure of that DP. The fact that all can float away from the students suggests maybe all starts inside the DP, perhaps near the, but then can move out. It hints that the structure inside a noun phrase isn't just flat, it's got layers.
And what about adverbs? You mentioned they sometimes appear in similar places.
Yeah, the placement of adverbs can sometimes act like a diagnostic. If a floating quantifier consistently lands in a spot where a certain type of adverb can also go, it reinforces the idea that they occupy a specific structural position in the sentence.
Okay. And finally, is this floating quantifier thing universal? Does it work the same way in, say, Japanese or French as it does in English?
Oh, not at all. There's actually huge variation across languages.
Really?
Yeah, some languages allow quantifiers to float quite freely, others have very strict constraints, and some don't seem to allow it at all, or only in very specific circumstances. It's a rich area of cross-linguistic difference.
Wow. So these little floating words, things like all appearing slightly out of place, they actually tell us quite a bit about the deep structure of language, don't they?
They really do. It's a perfect example of how something seemingly minor on the surface can reveal fundamental principles about how we organize sentences and meaning. Shows the hidden complexity.
It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? Maybe next time you notice a word that seems slightly out of position in a sentence, ask yourself, why is it there? What could that placement be telling us about how our minds are constructing meaning? Definitely food for thought.